Renault? Nissan? No. This is a Mercedes-Benz Citan Tourer, a people carrier version of a light commercial vehicle. How much Mercedes is it, and is this what your business or family needs? Watch this to find out. This is the second generation Mercedes-Benz Citan, a van based on the Renault Kangoo. Another sibling is the Nissan Townstar. At launch, the Citan is available as a panel van and a people carrier, which is called the Tourer. Later, we will also see the Mixto, with a 5-passenger cab and a separated cargo space, as well as a long wheelbase version. Mercedes also announced the T-Class, which will be a luxury version of the Citan, as well as the eCitan and EQT electric vans. And yes, all this is badge engineering, but the front vaguely resembles the A-Class and the rear lamps look like from the V-Class. Everything in the middle is a generic compact van optimized for cargo space. The panel van cargo area length is 180 centimeters to the divider and up to 3 meters with the folding divider. Rear doors are asymmetrical and can be opened up to 180 degrees if you need to back up close to the wall. Optionally, you can also choose a tailgate like on this Citan Tourer. Now, let's focus on the Citan Tourer. The boot volume is 517 liters. Fold the rear seats and you get 2,390 liters. The cargo area length is around 180 centimeters and the load capacity is 421 kilograms. This car also gets the optional tow hook and can tow up to 1.5 tons. Not much is happening in the boot. There are 2 shopping bag hooks and some enclosed storage for things like emergency kit. This car gets the optional carpet floor, plastic floor is standard. The parcel shelf can be stowed behind the seats, but when those are folded, there is no extra storage for it. And now we get to the Citan Kangoo seat folding mechanism, which should be a brilliant idea, but came out quite less so. Now, the flat loading area in a commercial vehicle sounds like something obvious. Unfortunately, Renault and models derived from it are a bit optimistic when it comes to the seat folding mechanism. In order to fold the seats flat, you have to slide the seat forward, which again can be done, but then you don't get to slide the seat back again, so you end up driving like this. If I were 2 meters tall, I wouldn't complain. Not everyone fits in a compact car, right? But I'm just 175 centimeters tall, and with the rear seats folded, I barely fit behind the wheel. You can try reclaiming about an inch by removing the headrests, but this is supposed to be a functional car. For reference, you can fold the rear seats with the front seats all the way back in the new Skoda Fabia. And Renault couldn't do it in its van. Also, don't count on sticking something under the seats when they are in their normal position. There are some cables running underneath, so you don't want to tear anything by mistake. And there are no jacket hooks of any sort anywhere. As far as the sitting position is concerned, there is a lot of legroom, obviously, and headroom, well, that's even more generous. After all, this is a commercial vehicle designed to fit a lot of stuff, not just people. The door pockets are quite small, and there is no armrest, so any drinks will have to fit in the seat pockets or on the tray tables. Apparently, kids like those. Your building crew probably will not find any use for them. On the other hand, on the way from the building site, your crew may appreciate the electric windows. Sometimes it's nice to get a breath of fresh air inside the car. Also, there are air vents and USB-A ports. In the front, it's more like a Mercedes. First of all, we get the outgoing steering wheel, which I think was brilliant with the buttons and tiny touchpads. The left side is for the trip computer and the right side is for the infotainment system. There are still analog speedo and rev counter with a digital display between them. And on top of the dashboard is the MBUX infotainment system display, small but functional nonetheless. MBUX can be operated by touch on the screen or on the steering wheel, as well as via voice commands. Some basic car functions are also accessible with physical buttons beneath the screen, and there are also Renault-sourced climate control knobs and buttons. But the gear lever is typical Mercedes. At the bottom of the center console are two USB-C ports, as well as a 12-volt socket and an optional induction charger and two cup holders. On top of the dash, we have another storage and another USB-C port and an optional phone holder, which can be mounted on the right and on the left. Just make sure that these plastic flaps are in the right spot, because they are not the same. The glove box is average size. Storage under the armrest is just about good for my 0.7 liter bottle. However, this thing won't stay open. Perhaps it's because of the central airbag, which is standard on the Tourer models. Speaking of airbags, the passenger side airbag is automatically disabled when the car senses a child seat. Beside the front ISOFIX mounting points, there are also two in the back. The seats are heated and the driver gets lumbar support adjustment. In Q2 2022, more options will become available, including keyless access and ignition, as well as a dual-clutch transmission. For now, we have to use a key, like in the dark ages. Depending on the body type, you get to choose between a 1.5 liter diesel or a 1.3 liter petrol. Power output in the panel van ranges from 75 to 131 horsepower, and in the Tourer there's only the 95 horsepower diesel and two petrols, 102 and 131 horsepower. This is the most powerful 131 horsepower petrol with 240 Nm of torque. With relatively little load on board, this engine delivers sufficient punch in the city and on the open roads. It should do 0 to 100 km per hour in 13 seconds. With ESP off, I managed 12.1, and that was on wet tarmac. But the Citan is not for racing, especially if you want to achieve the claimed 6.6 to 7.1 liters per 100 km combined. Spoiler alert, you won't. 8 liters seems more realistic, and if you're on the motorway, it's going to be even more than that. On the motorway, the Citan is very susceptible to crosswinds. It's only to be expected from a box on wheels. It's a shame compact vans don't get the same crosswind assist feature like you get on the much bigger Sprinter panel van. On the plus side, the Citan is relatively quiet inside. I mentioned this in my Kangoo review. On the minus side, visibility is atrocious. I also mentioned this in my Kangoo review. The A-pillars are so thick that people in cars just disappear behind them, so be careful when approaching pedestrian crossings or junctions. The Renault Kangoo I reviewed a few weeks ago, it was a panel van, so I mainly used wing mirrors, but here I could theoretically look over my shoulder, but because of the rising window line in the back, the visibility over the shoulder is also limited. That's why, at least partially, you have to rely on the blind spot monitoring system. The Citan can be equipped with many driver aids, but this test car only gets standard assist features. Finally, Mercedes decided to move away from the ESP-based lane keeping assist and use steering wheel inputs. Front suspension is McPherson struts, and the rear suspension is a twist beam with trailing arms. The panel van is, of course, adapted for heavier loads, whereas the Tourer is set up more for comfort. Also, Mercedes claims the Citan suspension has been tuned so it feels more like a Mercedes or less like a Renault. And I'm ready to believe that, because the Citan turned out to be much more pleasant to drive than I expected from a light commercial vehicle. Prices of the Mercedes-Benz Citan start at €16,790 for the 75 horsepower diesel or 102 horsepower petrol van. The cheapest 102 horsepower petrol Tourer starts at €18,890. These are net prices, so without VAT. This test car with options costs about €30,000. Again, that's net. The Mercedes-Benz Citan is more expensive than the Nissan Townstar and the Renault Kangoo. It's priced more or less on par with the VW Caddy. Theoretically, the Citan is better than the Caddy because you don't have to remove the rear seats to get a flat loading area, but you get to drive with your nose on your steering wheel like this. Is that a deal breaker for you, or you don't mind? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.